Hi, I'm Nyesha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
Good morning again. This is Jonathan Small, host of All About You. This program is broadcast live every week at AccessTV.org studios in downtown Hartford. This morning I have on as my guest a fitness trainer, Kelvin Moore, better known as Coach. Good morning, Kelvin Moore. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Okay. Now, you are at the stage of, you mentioned in your early 50s, and you're still very active in this fitness level. Some people might feel that in exercise or nutrition, sometimes it's better that you start at an early age. Like, investments, people will always tell you, the better long-term investment you can have is the earlier that you start. Is that the same category in health and fitness, or that is not the case?
Definitely not the case. I'll just mention one example. They just had a lady they profiled, and they had her on some of the major TV talk shows and some of the major magazine distributions. She's now 71. She's 71 years old. She did her first bodybuilding show at 71.
Okay.
She didn't start training until she was 55. Mm-hmm. So, through the course of time, she stayed in shape. But, here you go at somebody. I always tell people, you don't get older, you get better. And so once you condition your body, this is why they have these antiques. Mm-hmm. You go to some of these car shows, they got a 1920, 37, 47 Chevy that looks like it's in mint condition to be ran in 2013. You just take better care of yourself.
Okay. Now, your fitness training center, that's located in Bloomfield, Connecticut. What type of training center is that like?
Well, again, I tell people all the time, it's not a gym. We don't do, no disrespect to any other discipline, we don't do CrossFit. This is not PX90. This is none of those things. I've trained people who have went through those disciplines. Mainly what I do is band resistance training. We just got trademark a couple of different projects that's going to be, you're going to see the up and coming, that's going to hit the market. But 75% of what I do at my facility is bands, and I work with from the professional athlete to the stay-at-home mom. But 75% of what I've done to transform people's lives is the exercising them through that process. But more importantly than that, than to focus on capturing and helping them to stabilize and help to motivate and educate their minds.
Okay. So you do more, let's say, of a mental aspect than a physical aspect at your gym? I mean, same. Do you have like aerobic machines, equipment, or you just do something totally different than the normal?
Totally different. Every session is an hour if you came for an hour.
Okay.
I would say your workout is about 25 minutes. Our conversation maybe lasts 10 to 15 minutes. This is because people have come and bought into it. And some of the pictures that I shared with you in regards to the people that have lost 100 pounds, 110 pounds, and I'm talking about in 7-8 months. And, when people come and they hear these stories rather, and then they come and they see these clients, it's just amazing. So the bottom line is that when you come to my facility, I have maybe 5 pieces of cardio equipment, a few dumbbells, kettlebells, but mainly a lot of bands and a 30-yard indoor track.
Okay. Now, are your operations planned to get bigger or a little different, or are you going to keep pretty much everything the same going into the new year?
Lord has been kind to me, Jonathan, and so January 3rd of 2014, our grand reopening. We'll be opening to a 5,500 square foot facility. So we're presently at about 4,500 square feet. Mm-hmm. So we're opening the largest facility square footage wise, but also we're adding some different disciplines. We'll now have an on-site psychologist, an on-site massage therapist, with also doing some skin care therapy as well. Mm-hmm. We'll have an on-site nutritionist, and so the holistic approach of what we're trying to accomplish is now housed into one building.
Okay. So this is going to be like a unique center then, when you have different aspects to what you are promoting and what you are involved with. You're going to be able to balance it out in many different areas, it sounds like to me. Mm-hmm. You mentioned that you like to travel. Do you have any travel plans that you're going to be doing in the near future?
Well, again, as we already talked about, have gone to different countries, but 2014, my calendar is already kind of earmarked for several things up until May. In January, I'll be doing a couple of things. Number one, I'll be at a celebration that I've been invited to. With one of my clients, went over to Japan and met the Prime Minister, and she is the only female on the presidential cabinet in Japan. And my client had visited her last year. She went back this year after losing 70 pounds in 4 months. And she thought a transition from now health and training and fitness for women in Japan is huge. So I was invited to this event that's going to happen January 12th in Boston, with the potential to possibly to go there. The end of January, I'll be going back to Brazil. I've been to Brazil. I'll be going there again. I'll be in Ghana in February. In March, we're talking about in the negotiations the possibility to go to Italy, and then some other things coming down the road.
Do you like traveling all over the world?
I love it. I love it because it helps me to not only build my business, but to build my mind from the perspective of meeting different people, how people, you gotta be able to understand a client's cultural perspective. Because you're not gonna get somebody, for example, I got Filipino clients.
Okay.
In the Philippines, they sell rice in McDonald's. So you're not gonna have somebody come to your facility, map out a nutritional profile, that's what we call it, it's not a diet, and expect for them to totally eliminate rice. We've got to kind of understand the culture, work within that. And so with that, it's taught me a lot of dynamics, along with the type of medical situations a lot of my clients have, the diabetes, the Crohn's disease, the high blood pressure, and so on and so forth. All of those things, carbohydrate intolerant, thyroid issues. This is a non-exact science, and so you've got to be able to work around it. And I say this lastly, I tell people all the time, and even trying to educate a lot of trainers, the first 3 or 4 weeks of meeting any client is more experiment than it is experience. I wish I could walk into a situation with the experience I know and be able to properly, quote unquote, diagnose a client and fix their health issues, but that's just not the case.
Well, when you go to different countries throughout the world and you have to deal with different cultures and different climates, do you look at that as a challenge?
Yep, definitely a challenge for a lot of reasons. Let's just start with the language barrier. When I went to Brazil last year, Jonathan, I'm fine-tuning my Spanish and, getting myself ready and got over to Brazil, or prior to the person I went with, understanding that the people in Brazil speak Portuguese.
Right.
So,
okay.
But what had happened was for the trip, they provided me a translator. And so that the language barrier is just something to start with. And then with that, after that, you're talking about the different dynamics. Again, we're dealing with a non-exact science of weight loss and health and fitness regarding some of the things we do. I tell people all the time, often imitated but never duplicated some of the things that I do, but no trainer has the monopoly on this industry. So we can all learn from one another. But the bottom line is, it's got to be what works for Jonathan and his body composition as opposed to the next person. And it's always different.
Well, it sounds like to me, you deal with the balance aspect when you're dealing with the health, the mind, the spirituality, to go along with the physical discipline that you have to have. Let me throw some tough challenges to you,
Sure.
a little bit beyond the norm. Just say if somebody came to you and they can't stop indulging in drugs, alcohol, how would that be a challenge for you to fix that problem?
Why I love what I do and calling it a challenge is interesting. I always talk about to my clients, I live transparent. I'm now 24 years clean from drug and alcohol abuse.
Okay.
And so not necessarily having the certificate to do so, but the ability through experience to counsel someone who has went through those types of experiences is going to be definitely necessary. And we have a project that I'm definitely thinking about doing, and it's called the Grace House. And I pitched this to a couple of people who are very wealthy. I talked about how they have housing and rehabilitation for NA, CA, AA, and all the above, but they have nothing for people who are dealing with weight issues and eating disorders. So the Grace House, it will be a combination of 6 or 7 apartments in one house, letting all the clients who come in who are struggling as residents, common kitchen, all the meals are the same, 30, 40-day program, and through that process help to turn around.
You think by you being experienced and having a drug and alcohol problem in the past helps you to be able to deal with people that have those same problems?
Absolutely, because one of the things is the symptoms and the signs. I have a sister now who's struggling with drug and alcohol. And my mom, she lives with my mom, and so some of the things that my mom talks about and we engage in conversation with, I tell her to look for this sign. This is what normally happens. Watch this. Most things in life now are just behavior management. And I've had those same types of knowledge as experiences, but that same type of behavior. And so through that process, and to tell them the challenges. When I throw things at them, when they see that the Lord has been kind to me and blessed my business in 3 years, and going, and in the last 4 months, I've grown 25% in this economy. I throw at them that you're talking to a gentleman who was once homeless, me. And so, anything that you put your mind to, that's why I would constantly talk about the power of the mind. You can overcome.
Sounds like to me you could also be a motivational speaker too. Have you ever thought about getting involved, or do you do motivational speaking engagements? I do motivational speaking. I do seminars. I'm actually, they just secured me for a project in my client, who's a psychologist, runs a program through Yale New Haven Hospital in Yale in New Haven, excuse me. And the project is going to be, I'm going to be working with 15 adolescent girls, ages 13 to 15. All of them are 250 pounds plus. And so I'll be going down once a month, doing not only just a training, but doing a seminar and conversation and motivational speaking to them, but to their parents who are involved. And that's what I do as well. I was just in Albany, New York, because I trained the president and CEO, David Brown of the YMCA, because I have a project here at my facility called CEO Saturdays, where I got 10, 12 CEOs from all corporations throughout Hartford that come and train together. And that was a spinoff and got birth from that because I trained James Morton, who's the president and CEO of the YMCA here in Hartford. So you planning to continuously grow into this fitness and training aspect of your life. You don't plan to slow down anytime in the near future, or you're going to continue to get more busy involved?
Well, Jonathan, you put me on the spot. Because again, I'm going to publicly have to tell the secret. Well, it's not necessarily a secret, but I've told people that the facility that we just secured is a 2-year lease. I'm going to give it 2 more years. And I'm going to hit the ground running, and as the Lord leads, I'm going to save every life and every person that walks through that door, if they allow me to, based upon the gift and the experience that He's given me. And then I'm going to just basically do some consultations. I'll still travel, but I just won't be in one central location. And so I retired in 2007 as a state employee from the Connecticut Juvenile Training School. And I didn't do anything for about 3 or 4 years. And I opened this facility, and I said in the beginning, I want to hit it hard for about 5 years. And so we've got 2 more years.
Well, there's might be some people out there who are dealing with other issues like clinical depression, just, bipolar. That might be a medical issue now when you get into bipolar disorders. But there's so many different issues that people are dealing with today. Are you in a position that you can kind of help some of these people with these issues, or there's something that you're not in your particular category when you do?
Let me just put it to you this way. 35% of the country goes undiagnosed with schizophrenia and depression issues, mental illnesses. So we got to start with some of the people we work with every day who have issues that either have not been diagnosed or is not common to them. We have an on-site psychologist. I have clients who have come off through the process. You can speak to them at my facility, lost the weight, come off depression medication. It's a psychological issue, but at the same time, 90% of it being medical, you teach somebody holistically how to reroute themselves, and that through that process, they can change their lives, both the identity and how to define themselves. I'm telling you, the sky is the limit. It's just a matter of working with people where they are, and the other piece is having a passion for what you do.
Yes. Well, I just brought that up because I feel that over the past years, mental illnesses, like you mentioned, is being undiagnosed, people not getting properly treated and checked out. And it's kind of scary in our society that you got a lot of people out here who have these mental illness issues, and we're not even probably diagnosing these people and to find out exactly what is causing it. But you feel for any particular issue or any particular problem, whatever it's a clinical depression, bipolar, there is a way to fix that problem.
There's a way to anything. I stand firm on my convictions and believing that it's Transform Health and Fitness Ministries. The impossibilities are possible with God.
Okay.
And so that's what makes Transform, one of the other things that makes Transform so unique. We have a testimonial on our website in regards to people who have overcome all kinds of clinical issues, depression and some of the other things, as well as addictions. And so when you hear the person tell their story, I have a lot of clients who compete, and I tell them all the time, the trophy doesn't overshadow the power of your testimony.
Okay.
The story in which you're embarking on this journey that has made you successful and turned your life all the way around.
Well, that's going to actually have to be your last words, and I couldn't think of any better way to end this particular program or what you just said. You've been a real true inspiration, and I think a lot of people should find out more about your life and your center and what you are doing. And I hope we've been able to be some type of voice and encouragement for this particular issue. Thank you, Kelvin Moore.
Thank you very much, Jonathan.
Okay. Again, this is Jonathan Small, host of All About You. Again, I do this broadcast every single week at accesstv.org studios in downtown Hartford. And as I say every single week to people out there, have a very blessed day and keep the faith. Thank you.